What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here in the lab once again, Dayton 24/7 Now Sports Podcast, powered by Ladybug Services. If you're having any issues with insects or pests, call 263-BUG, all right? Once again, I got my partner in the building, Matt Digby. He's been on vacation, but he is back, and he's tan as ever. How you feeling, Matt?
I wish I was tan. I'm doing good, Deon. Great to be with Deon Cash again, and ready to talk more sports.
That's right. We got a lot on the docket here as we're going to talk baseball recap.
We are.
We got Reds, Guardians, MLB, Dragons, and then we got our teams of the week later. Then we'll get into some NFL draft coverage as it's a big week for a lot of young kids out here and some organizations looking to pick up some big-time players. Stroud has looked like he's kind of moving up and down the board. We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk Bengals, Browns, Steelers, boys, and Dallas Daniels as well. And then we'll go to the NBA playoffs, which has been crazy.
It has been, yep.
Bron, dude called him old, and now he took it to the Grizzlies.
He took it personally.
He took it personal, so we'll talk about that. The Clippers are out.
Yep.
Their guys were hurt. And then we have some other first-round recap to do. And then last we'll get to our hot topics. A-Rod, HBCU All-Star Game, Tank Davis, Garcia, Coach Delapina, and the teams of the week. So we got a great show for you. It's week 8. It's still kind of cool out, but we on fire in here. Matty D, man, how was your week, man? You had a vacay. How was your week first?
It was good, yeah. I got to see some family back in the Columbus area. It was nice to unwind a bit, but also great to keep up with all the different sports here in the Miami Valley, and of course keeping track of the Redlegs. And the Reds right now doing well. They had back-to-back 7-6 come-from-behind wins over the Rangers. The Rangers right now leading their division, the AL West. So Cincinnati, off the back of 6 straight losses to the Rays and Pirates, now they're kind of being able to right the ship, and they are, we had talked about this before, I don't think it's going to be quite the disaster that 2022 was. 2022, there was just no way to sugarcoat it. 2023, maybe not quite back to playoff contender status as quick as that, but I think it's going to be a lot smoother, a lot better than 2022, and they're playing that way. The one thing I've seen, though, the pitching has really stepped up for them. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft, they have been the solid 3. When you kind of get down in the further down in the rotation, then it starts to bring up a couple question marks. But the key right now for the Reds, and I remember David Bell talking about this after one of the losses to the Pirates, can they get enough hits? Can they get enough runs to balance their pitching? The pitching has done a good job keeping them in games. Now it's up to the offense to come through. Yeah, they've been able to come through lately in the clutch. When you have a young team, you never know who's really going to step up. But Jonathan India, he's starting to get his bat rolling, had a couple of key hits recently. And, when you got young guys, like I said, you just never know when they're going to step up and do things. Without having Joey Votto has really hurt them, I think, a little bit. But they've been able to get production out of first base. So I think on that side, it's been good. If you're a Reds fan, you have to feel a little bit optimistic because last year you only had 2 or 3 wins at this time. So right now you're still battling, you're still in the race, and hopefully you can make a little bit of a run. Now right now, the Pittsburgh Pirates they are
doing a
on
damn
fire.
thing right now. They're at first place in the division, and I believe is it the Cardinals that are right behind them?
They are a game ahead of Milwaukee. It's Pittsburgh at 16-8. Milwaukee is a game behind them. Then the Cubs 2 games behind, and then at the bottom division, you got the Cardinals and the Reds. So a lot of baseball still to be played between now and the end of the season for sure. But definitely we were not the Pirates ending last year 62-100, just like the Reds. I don't think anyone was, especially in Pittsburgh, was expecting the Pirates to be as red hot as they were to start 2023.
Yeah, they're 8-2 in their last 10, and they're 9-4 on the road. So that's huge. When you start playing like that on the road, that's big. In retro, and then if you look at the Reds, they're 1-9 on the road.
On the road, that's been the big thing for them. Yeah, they've been also able to contend in games, be competitive in games at Great American Ballpark, but you go on the road, you only have the 1 win at Philadelphia. Now, granted, you had a lot of close losses in that loss when they were swept by the Pirates. A lot of 1-run games, 2-run games, but it also came down to a lot of the offense couldn't get the job done when they needed to the most. The pitching gave them opportunities to win, but then the offense couldn't cash in. And that's going to be an issue. Are they just waiting for Votto to get back, or is it just the ebbs and flows of a season where the offense happens to be in a slump? And who knows, next week they'll be on fire, one of the best hitting teams in baseball. So it's one of those you never know.
Yeah, baseball's like that. It's a week-to-week thing, unless you're one of the top teams, and which means every week you're smacking people down.
Exactly.
Now, Atlanta, top team in the league right now. Well, in the NL, they're 16-8, along with Pittsburgh. Well, at this point, they're 16-8, along with Pittsburgh. We know that'll change here in a day or so. But
best record in the NL, and of course, second behind the Rays. The Rays have not lost a beat. They're still 20-4 over in the AL.
And the Reds did get a piece of the Rays.
Did.
Now they put the wood on them. For what, 2 games?
1 game, yeah. They did get the opener, but then the Rays came back the second and third games and kind of established it again, just in case anyone forgot why they are the hottest team in baseball right now, quickly to get to 20 wins, 20-4. That's
insane.
No team would refuse that offer if someone.
No. Yeah. And they're 14-1 at home, so they get you in that dome, and it's over. They had the pitching's been lights out, the hitting's been great, and they're sitting atop. Now that division's nice though. Everybody's over 500.
It is.
Baltimore's 15-8, Toronto 15-9. I'm just looking here. The Yankees and Boston at the bottom of that, which is very interesting.
Who would have thought that?
Which one of those teams you think will rise up? Or you think it'll be that type of year for those guys? What do you think?
I think it might be a year of change. I remember it wasn't that long ago that Baltimore was considered one of the top teams in the AL. They made a couple of playoff runs. I think they even made it to the ALCS one year. And it will be interesting to see if they can keep that momentum going. But now, yeah, definitely the Rays, they are the team to beat. A 4.5 game lead already in May. I know a lot will happen, through May, June, July, until we get to the end of the regular season in September. But the fact that every other division, it's like a 1 game lead or 2 game lead. Minnesota does have a 3 game lead over Cleveland in the Central, but 4.5 games after just 25. That's very impressive on Tampa Bay's part.
Very impressive, and it will be very interesting to see what happens when the pressure is applied by the Yankees, by Toronto, by Baltimore. The Guardians, 11-13 right now, and they have been 3-7 in their last 10. They started out pretty good, but lately they've hit a little bit of a slump, and we'll see what they can do here. But they're only 3 games out. It's early in their division, and in contrast to the East is not very good, as Minnesota's the only team with over a 500 record. So we'll see what happens in the AL Central. I look for the Guardians to bounce back. They have a good team. Sometimes you go through this early in the season. What do you think with the Guardians, man?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit too early to tell, kind of like what the Reds are in right now. There's still a lot of games that will be played. A couple games, you should have won. A couple games that they won that maybe they didn't necessarily deserve to win. So for the Guardians, the fact that they're in this position right now, it's not 3-20 or however bad the Reds were, all is absolutely not lost. There's still a lot of games that will be played. So yeah, Guardians, just if they can stay positive and maybe not necessarily have to rely on how hot they got at the end of last season to get into the playoffs, but right now they're in a decent spot. Yeah,
they're not bad. Second place, they won it last year, so they should be doing okay. Real quickly, Dragons take.
Yes, Dayton Dragons. They are about a couple weeks into their season now, and the sellout streak is still strong. 14-48. They are 7-7 so far in 2023, but the results are a different story. Only 6-10. They did do well to win on Sunday and split their 6-game series at West Michigan, but it's been a tough go of things for the Dragons in 2023. So, yeah, not quite the results they were hoping for. They are well towards the bottom of the Midwest League standings, and they've got a week-long series coming up with Lake County, the Guardians' High A affiliate, and Lake County is one of the top teams of the standings. And a great example of that was Tuesday's game on the 25th. Dayton now to a 5-1 lead. Lake County scores 5 unanswered. They come back and win 6-5. So is it going to be one of those seasons for the Dragons? I personally think it's still really early to tell. We won't know more really until the end of May, beginning of June. But yeah, Dayton, they definitely want to get back on track, and they certainly want get back on track in a hurry.
Yeah, they a good thing about minor league, you get two halves. You know, if you play bad in the first half, you get a whole new do-over to start in the second half. So we'll see what happens with the Dragons. We'll be back here in a moment with more NFL draft and NBA playoffs and hot topics. Dayton 24/7 Now, sports podcast, powered by Ladybug Services.
Welcome back to the Dayton 24/7 Now Sports Podcast. I'm Matt Digby, joined by Deon Cash. We've been talking a lot of sports, and we're now going to dive into the 2023 NFL Draft, April 27th through the 29th, which you can see on ABC 22. This has been a couple years now that ESPN and ABC have simulcast the draft, both airing it at the same time, so you'll be able to watch the draft picks on ABC 22 coming up April 27th through the 29th. So we're going to get into the draft right now. First pick, the Carolina Panthers. After that trade not that long ago with the Chicago Bears, Panthers have the number one pick, and I think it's safe to say at this point they are going to go with Bryce Young. Now the question is, who do the Houston Texans take at number 2? And especially of interest to fans of Ohio State here in the Miami Valley, where does CJ Stroud end up? Does he fall down further from 2, or do the Texans pick him at 2? That's the $1 million question right now.
Yeah, when you look at the draft board a month ago, Stroud was he was the guy. He was, you know, they were can't miss. He's the guy. And then, you know, in vintage mode, they have a test. They put this written test out, and Stroud's like, you know, doesn't do great on it, and here we go. He's going to fall down the ladder. The question is, when you look at the board, there's about 3 or 4 teams, but it does start to get interesting if the Texans are like, no, we want to keep the quarterback that we have. Now, Stroud, he had an excellent last game. He proved his worth. Now the question is, who's going to take him? It looked like a foregone conclusion it'd be 1 or 2, but that might not happen. Richardson.
Yep, Anthony Richardson from Florida.
He's becoming a can't miss. He's a can't miss. Got all the tools prospect, and now he's staying firm with the Colts. The Colts are really on him. But if Stroud is available, will they take Stroud or will they stay with Richardson? And that's a big key. We'll have to see how it goes.
Well, let's go down the order. We discussed the Panthers have the number 1 pick, and it's a foregone conclusion. It sounds like that they're going to take Bryce Young. Texans are second, so they have currently Davis Mills, Case Keenum on their roster. Do they stick with one of those two, or do they pick one of Richardson or Stroud? That's going to be a big thing.
Now, the director said he feels like they need to give Mills another
year to prove himself.
What are you thinking?
I think it's one of those, there's no absolute right answer, no absolute wrong answer. I will say the team right after them, the Arizona Cardinals, they're sticking with Kyler Murray even with the coaching change.
Right.
They're not going to pick a quarterback. 4th pick is the Colts. Matt Ryan, the 1-year deal. It was what it was, and sometimes things like that work out. Sometimes they don't.
March Madness, one and done.
So so the Colts are 4th. Then the Seattle Seahawks are 5th. They moved up. They got that as a trade with Denver. That was part of the trade that sent Russell Wilson to Denver, and the Seahawks got the 5th overall pick in 2023. As a result of that, they're set with Geno Smith. Which, what a story for Geno! After it seemed like he was out and done in the NFL, he comes back, has a comeback player of the year type season. Lions are 6th. Are they going to stick with Goff, or do you think that's one where Stroud or Richardson, it could come down to the 2 of them?
I feel like the Lions they're looking for a new identity, right? Mm-hmm. You have a guy with Goff. He's very he did his thing last year later in the season. He proved his worth. Took them to did they get to the playoffs?
The Lions did not.
They were one game away.
The fact that they were
play-in game for the playoff, and they weren't able to. They lost it late.
Especially considering how poor they were at the beginning of the season. Second half of the season, they caught fire to put themselves in that position.
Goff, not sure how many years left on his contract, but it'd be hard to pass up a guy like Stroud.
Yep.
You could keep Goff for a couple of years. You could groom Stroud. I mean, you have a new team. The whole energy's new. It'll be very interesting to see if he does last past Detroit. Who's the other teams that?
So right now, rounding out the top 10 would be the Las Vegas Raiders, which they just got Garoppolo. So
Raiders, that's where he's going now. Our producer said no, he don't think the Raiders are going to do it. But the Raiders, if they're in their Al Davis mentality, they're going to pick Stroud. All right. If they are in their new Davis mentality, they might not. All right? They might go with somebody else. But if Al Davis was still here, he would take Stroud in a heartbeat. There's no question about it. All right, now if the Raiders don't, what's the last couple guys in the top 10?
Rounding out the top 10, you got the 8th pick with the Falcons. They're going to stick with Mariota and Ritter. Those are their top
Desmond
2.
Ritter.
Yep, Desmond Ritter from UC. 9 is the Bears. That was I believe it was that same trade that the Panthers and the Bears, they just swapped picks. And then the Eagles, the Super Bowl Super Bowl runner-up, I should say, not Super Bowl champion. They got that 10th pick on a trade with New Orleans. So the Eagles, they're sticking with Jalen Hurts, especially after that deal Hurts just signed a few days ago.
Yeah, he a mega deal.
Yep.
And shout out to his agent for getting that one, I'm gonna say.
Hey, that's an agent's job.
He earned it though. He did everything. He walked the path. He never complained. He just did his job, got better, and Eagles in the Super Bowl. So shout out to Stroud. I don't think you'll fall past. Does he fall past the top 10? Yes or no?
Stroud, personally, I don't think he falls outside the top 10. He will go, probably not second. And where does he end up? That's still to be seen, because we talked about, many different trades. There will probably be 1 or 2 more trades I could definitely see on Thursday, the evening of the 27th, as teams are on the clock. So, but I would be very surprised if Stroud is outside the top 10. But another thing to keep an eye on, also, of fans here in the Miami Valley will certainly be interested who the Bengals pick. Now, the Bengals do have the 28th overall pick, so they won't be officially on the clock for some time. One mock draft has them taking Brian Breesy, a defensive tackle from Clemson. So that's going to be interesting to see who the Bengals go with, because they've already got Burrow. They picked up Burrow's 5th-year option, so he's set for 23 and 24. Chase right now is still a go. Higgins is still a go. They added the one offensive tackle from Kansas City, Orlando Smith.
Zeke Elliott signed yet?
Zeke Elliott, maybe. Given the issues with Joe Mixon, who knows?
Oh, man, now that's going to be interesting. See who they lost Pirine.
Yep.
And they're trying to replace him.
Pirine's out, and a lot of their secondary guys are out as well. No more Von Bell.
Safeties. Both of their
safeties. Von Bell and Jesse Bates III are gone after the success they've had the last 2 years, making back-to-back AFC Championship games and making it all the way also to Super Bowl 56 back in the 2021 season.
And then Lyle Collins is saying, I'm coming back.
Lyle wants to come back, and until he got injured against the Patriots, he was performing well enough to warrant that, yeah.
And now they signed another guy on the line. I think they should go for defense. They need.
Yeah. Well, the one mock.
You need somebody in the backside, and Bell. Those guys were really good back there. Bates and Bell. That was one of the top safety tandems in the league. So to lose both of them in the same year, that's crazy.
Yeah, just
that's
days
a little
apart
crazy
from each other, and we'll be interested to see who the Bengals pick 28th overall pick.
Browns.
What
do they need?
Do not have. Well, first off, they don't have a first-round pick because of a couple trades. They actually traded first and third-round selections to Houston last year. That was part of the deal that brought Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. So as a result, the Browns don't have a pick until. Well, from what I'm seeing, they might not have a pick until Saturday, the 4th round. Though, actually, they do have the 74th overall pick I'm seeing right now, the 3rd round. So that will be on Friday, the 28th. So, I mean, there's only so many options at that point with respect to the players. Certainly a lot of talent. But in terms of, that star quality, the guy that will single-handedly sell season tickets like a Burrow or a Jamar Chase or Bryce Young with the Panthers, we assume he's going to go to the Panthers with that overall pick.
Well, that's supposed to be the quarterback. And they can thank him for that.
Exactly.
They lost a lot of picks with him. We'll see what the Browns can do. Steelers, real quickly, our producer and Mr. Smith,
Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Smith and Mr. Stewart, our producer. What are they looking for? What are we looking for?
17th overall pick for
What you think? What you think? Give us something.
I think we're going corner.
Cornerback, okay,
Yep.
Cornerback. Mr. Smith, I believe he talked about that as well last time we talked. Why you think corner?
It's a position of need. We lost Cameron Sutton on the outside. We did bring in, I can't think of his name right now, from the Cardinals and the Rams. Patrick Peterson.
Oh, Peterson.
Okay.
So we brought in a vet. With that, he's going to be solid for a year or two, I think, for him. But they need to bring in a young guy that can learn behind him, that they can build off of.
All right, and Steelers, you always draft well. You guys always draft well. And the Cowboys, oh boy, we'll see what they're talking about tight end. So we'll see what they
got
can
the
do.
26th overall pick, and Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. If he's been touted as one of the higher rated prospects in general, not just tight end. So he may very well be picked before 26. So if the Cowboys really want him, they'll need to trade up.
Yeah, and Jerry will do anything when he wants his guy. All right. Last but not least, we want to give a shout out to the Dayton guy. Who'd you say?
Yes, Dallas Daniels, Trotwood native, went to Jackson State, had a successful couple of years under Deon Sanders when they had all that success. And so chance potentially for Dallas Daniels to get drafted, but also Jake Chisholm, former UD running back. He had a tryout actually not that long ago with the Cincinnati Bengals. Will he be drafted? Will he sign in the undrafted free agent contract? That remains to be seen. I know I've talked with Jake multiple times. He actually wants to go to medical school. So does he put those plans on hold to pursue an NFL dream? We'll see over the next few years.
Yeah. No, I'm just playing. Mr. Chisholm, do what you got to do, man. And Dallas Daniels, congratulations, man. We know you're going to get drafted. With that being said, we're going to wrap up here and come back. NBA playoffs, hot topics. Dayton 24/7 Now Sports Podcast. Lock in with us. All right, what's up? Yeah, man, we back here in the building. I'm with a tan Matt Digby, and he was on vacay, living his best life, but now we back here, Dayton 24/7 Now Sports Podcast, powered by Ladybug Services. If you're having any problems with insects or pests or anything like that, call 263-BUG, all right? Shout out to Regina Johnson and Ladybug Services, all right? Now, we got NBA playoffs to get to, man, and the most interesting series by far has been Memphis and the Lakers.
Definitely a lot, no shortage of storylines there.
No question. As after game one, Memphis was boasting and bragging and talking a lot, and even propelled one of their players to say that LeBron's old and he's done. And if he can't hit 40, don't talk to me. Well, he didn't hit 40. But the last couple games, he has showed what he's about. In a 20-point, 20 rebound, 7 assists, 5, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
An incredible game. And now the Lakers sit at 3-1. Are you still amazed at LeBron James? And can Memphis make their way back in this series?
I don't know if Memphis can make their way back in this series, honestly. This reminds me almost exactly about, Michael Jordan. He went on that spiel in The Last Dance. It's become the theme that every time, whether it was meant on purpose as a dig at Michael or not, MJ would always say, I took it personally. And that became a viral meme when the Last Dance series first came out. And I think that's exactly what's happening here with LeBron. A chance for him to add to his own legacy. He already has his legacy set, no question about it. But to add to that legacy is just another taking the personal moments and a chance to knock out the 2 seed in the playoffs after 5 games. Though that Memphis won the first game, and apart from that, it's been all Lakers. So that's been most impressive on the Lakers' part.
There was some podcast where somebody said that they should sit out street clothes in LeBron. If you don't know who street clothes is, that's Anthony Davis, all right?
Yeah.
Now, Anthony Davis, it looks like he's going to get hurt every game. I mean, he's been getting thrashed out there, and he's been playing inconsistent, but he had a bad game, expect a good game. Would you sit those guys out, or would you try to go for the juggler?
Right now, if I have an opportunity to beat the number 2 seed in the playoffs, a division champion, I would send them out, get the series over with, because the other thing is also whoever wins this is going to play the winner of the Sacramento Golden State series. That series is tied at 2. We already know it's going 6 games, so get business taken care of as soon as possible with the Grizzlies, and then the Lakers can move on. Then they'll have a couple extra days because they don't know who they're going to play yet, if it's going to be the Kings or the Warriors, because the Warriors-Kings series is already automatically going at least 6, if not 7. So they'll have a couple days to get ready for that.
Definitely a good point. Anybody who say sit out, man, I don't know. There's no way you can sit out in a closeout game. That is such... I mean, you're giving the other team a chance to get back in the series. All they got to do is win a game, get some momentum.
And if anyone knows about a team coming back from a 3-1 deficit, it would be LeBron. So
doing it on the highest level against the greatest regular season team of all time. So, but shout out to Bron, man. That was just amazing. And Dylan Brooks, you're going to have to do something, bro, because he scored the game tying to send it to overtime, and then he just kept going, and it was just an incredible performance by the Ohio boy. Now, on the other side of the LA barrier, you got the Clippers. They're out.
Clippers are out. They lost in 5 to Phoenix, and Phoenix now advancing, hoping to make the finals for the second time in 3 years, hopefully with a better ending than in 2021. But they got Denver coming up in the Western Conference semis, and then the East. Right now, only one team has advanced in the East. Philly, the only team to sweep across all of the 8 first-round matchups. Philly sweeping Brooklyn, and you still got Miami about to upset Milwaukee. They're up 3-1. Yeah. Cleveland on the verge of going out to New York. They're down 3-1, and Boston with a 3-2 lead on Atlanta.
Cavs, Knicks. Now, that was one that we talked about last week. I had Tamika Williams Jr. on here, and everybody, they were so adamant about the Cavs, but the Knicks really have stifled them, and Jalen and Brunson looks like the best player on the court.
He does. He does. Him and Josh Hart. I saw a couple of photos from when they were at Villanova, when they had that national championship run in 2016, when Chris Jenkins hit the game winner at three-pointer against North Carolina, and now Hart and Brunson definitely in the running. That if they do end up meeting Miami, that could be a very back-and-forth series, and whoever...
Vintage, right? Old school.
It would be vintage.
Back some memories back when they was brawling on the court when they was playing, but that should be good. That's very interesting to watch it. Milwaukee, man, they just took Jimmy Buckets. He went berserk, and he does that a lot in the playoffs. He has that ability to rise up and just elevate his game to elite levels.
Yeah, I think we saw definitely 2020 was when they made the finals in that COVID bubble, when they moved all the games to Disney World, and the Miami made the finals that year. But yeah, to do it against Milwaukee with Giannis and all the strengths that the Bucks have, that's most surprising to me.
No question. The Celtics, now they're in a fight. They'll go back to Atlanta and take on. They'll go back to Atlanta and take. They're up 3-2.
Yep.
They even moved Janet Jackson's concert back. Special thanks to Trae Young for hitting an ice-cold game winner against the Celtics. But who do you like in that series?
I do like Boston. They just have too many pieces right now. There's a reason they're division champions and with the lead 3-2.
All right. We still got some great series to watch in the first round. We'll be looking and seeing what goes down with that. But now let's get to our hot topics. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some topics to talk about.
We do.
Number one, shout out to Deshaun Parker. He was the HBCU All-Star Game versus Ohio MVP of the game, the Wayne grad.
Nice.
He did his thing. And then Bootsy Collins and Isley Brothers performed at halftime and after the game. So you had your Gators out. I mean, it was a whole vibe, man. It was a whole vibe there. Trey Burke, the NBA player.
Formerly of Northland and went to Michigan for a couple years. Yep.
That's right. He got honored as well.
I do have to say this with Trey Burke. He was part of that Michigan team that lost to my Ohio Bobcats in the 2012 NCAA tournament, the year Ohio made it all the way to the Sweet 16. So I do have to mention that nice little fact in there.
Hey,
go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. Jason Preston, he came through there as well. Shout out to Deshaun Parker, though. He definitely upped his value, and I would not be surprised to see him be on a G League team, this season for sure. He's already got the overseas deal. Now, the fight, Tank Davis taking on Garcia. Garcia talked a lot. Tank hit him with a couple of body blows, and that was it. Garcia took a knee as if he took a knee as if it was
kneeling out time in the football game almost.
Oh boy, yeah, and he didn't get back up. But it is what it is. Will they have a rematch? What do you think?
I don't know. If you take a knee in the first one, it's pretty tough to justify a rematch in my eyes.
No question about that. A-Rod to the Jets.
The 4 days of darkness and isolation.
Darkness.
You decided on the Jets.
He had to get his mind right and get out of there.
To give Robert Saleh credit, the Jets have been a lot better the last 2 seasons under him than they have the reason why we've been using the Jets as a punching line or a punching bag so many years now.
And then you get Sauce Gardner, and he's rookie of the year.
Yeah, that's right.
You have a nice defensive line. I think that things are coming along. They have the wide receiver, the offensive and defensive rookie of the year, and they both from Ohio State. One's from Ohio State, one's from Cincinnati.
One's from UC,
but he's going to a good situation. There's no question about it. Will they make the playoffs?
This year, I don't know. It's there are a lot of good teams right now in the AFC. I do think this year might be a step too far to win the AFC East. I think that is still Buffalo's to lose. Maybe they could slide in at 7, just barely at 7. Or it will be, I think, between them and the Steelers and maybe Miami, based on how well Miami ultimately played when the games meant the most.
Yeah, no question. On a sad note, I'd like to just give our prayers to Coach Delapina. He passed away this week and was a integral part of the Springfield organization, especially with football. Was Maurice Douglas' right-hand man, one of his guys that traveled with him along all throughout his journey. And just prayers to the Delapina family and to Springfield family. A very sad loss. I had an opportunity to have him on the show in our last season during the football season, and it was a complete honor. He was a great guy, and he will be sorely missed.
Yep.
Last but not least, we have our teams of the week, and our teams of the week are Trotwood, Tecumseh, and CJ. CJ's JV, Tecumseh's JV, and Trotwood varsity are our teams of the week. Special thanks to those teams for doing their thing out here and making baseball relevant in the Miami Valley. You got anything for us?
Yeah, looking
Matty
forward
D?
to quite a few local teams will be taking part in the Reds High School Showcase. A couple games taking place this week over at Wright State. And then not this weekend, but I think 2 weekends from now, there will be 2 games at Great American Ballpark featuring Centerville and Springboro. So a chance for the Elks and the Panthers to actually play on the field at Great American Ballpark. That's going to be special for them.
Super dope. When is that?
Those games are May 13th. That's a Saturday. Saturday, May 13th.
I'm going to have to check that out for sure. Since this is our last episode for now, but not forever, we want to thank Mr. Digby, Mr. Smith, and I'd like to thank Alexander for putting this show together. Without him, this would not be possible. Special thanks to Dayton 24/7 Now for giving us the opportunity. And if you didn't check out the show, go to Dayton 24/7 Now on YouTube. You can check it out, the whole podcast, the whole season in its entirety. All right. Signing out here from Dayton 24/7 Studios, Deon Cash, Mr. Digby, Mr. Smith, and Alexander. We out of here.